And it started when I was a young kid. I used to rescue squirrels when I was a little kid, sneak them into the house, and just rehabilitate them and then just return them back outside. I really liked catching the wildlife and helping them. We get a lot of them that have been severely abused, and then they seem to forgive very easily. They forgive and forget. I'm surprised that they do. It's just nature of a dog, I believe. They can be treated so badly, but at the same time just be such loving animals and forgive what they've been through.
My name's Jenny.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and this is Gunther. We adopted him about a year ago, last April, from the Martinez shelter.
Being able to share the story about rescuing Gunther is one of my favorite parts about being a rescue dog owner, and how sweet he is and lovable he is, and especially with his breed. And when people find out we rescued him at 2 to 3 years old, and a lot of people have some negative ideas, which I understand, and he changes that immediately when people meet him, and it's wonderful. I mean, honestly, how could you not want one of these?
Yeah, he's a big teddy bear.
A lot of times when we go out and we rescue these dogs, a lot of people that do it, they have the heart to help the animal. And then when we get the animal, we hear stories like, I didn't realize I needed that dog so much. And then it turns out that the dog actually rescued them. You know, they get the dog and they think, oh, it's just a dog. But then they find out, you know, a month or two later that they couldn't live without the animal, that the animal basically has taken over and become everything to them.
I definitely feel like Gunther has rescued me more than I've rescued him. He's always there. He's always happy when I come home, even if it's just to take the trash out, and then I come back. When I come back, he goes and grabs a toy, and he's like, hey, I'm here. I can make your day better. Let's go for a walk. Let's go, come play with one of my toys.
The connection between the rescuer and the rescue animal I couldn't say enough about it, and I don't ever want to not have that, and the emotional support that I truly feel having that companionship is amazing.
Hi, I'm Dylan Mooney, and I am a dog owner of these two beautiful dogs, Coco and Gemini. We got both of these dogs as rescues from a Pasadena rescue shelter. We got Jemmy first. She's 14 years old in Pasadena. A sweet little girl. She was actually black when we first got her, and then her fur just changed to white. And then we got Coco 2 years later at the same shelter in Pasadena, a wonderful shelter. Just recently, Coco went blind and deaf sort of simultaneously. So it's been a bit of a challenge for her to find her way around the house, and when I take them out for walking, she kind of veers a little bit all over the place, but we got it together. She's starting to really understand her ways around, and Jemmy actually a few years ago went deaf, so she can't hear anything anymore. We can make loud noises like, Jemmy, look at me. Jemmy, wake up, dinner time. And she doesn't hear anything, but they're both sweet, sweet dogs.
This is a very funny story. We had another dog, an Australian Shepherd named Zach, and he was getting up there. He was 13, 14, and he was really slowing down. And the vet said, sometimes if you get another dog to have some companionship, the older dog does better. It kind of rejuvenates him. So we were having breakfast in Walnut Creek, and we saw next door they were having a dog adoption. Went over there. He wasn't there, but there was a picture of him. And I said to the woman, could you bring this dog? I mean, he's really cute. So she brings him, puts him in a little pen, and I reach down to pet him, and he looks up at me and he goes, ah! And I went, holy cow, I don't think so. And the woman said, this poor dog, he's his own worst enemy. He growls at everybody, but he's so sweet. He's the sweetest dog, but that's what he does. So I told her, okay, we'll take a chance. And he's just a great dog.
My name is Juliette Boyd. I am the Executive Director of Hopalong Animal Rescue, and this is Pipsqueak. She and her two siblings were found floating in a river, and someone passing by was able just to grab them. They had been dumped. So luckily someone spotted them. They were in really rough shape when they came in, but are in their foster homes now and will be up for adoption shortly. Hopalong's foster program started 28 years ago when one of the volunteers at the Oakland Animal Shelter began bringing some of the animals home and found out that they would oftentimes do better and thrive if they could be in a little bit of a quieter environment. And so Hopalong was founded on a three-legged cat, thus the name, and it gradually grew from the founder, Helen Hill, who then went from cats to dogs, and she had her friends start to foster, and then it began to grow and grow from there. So now we recruit foster families all over the Bay Area, East Bay, San Francisco, and Marin. We have offices in both Oakland and Marin, and so we're constantly recruiting. We're constantly recruiting foster families and volunteers, and so it works out beautifully because these people will open up their homes, and the animals will go right from the shelter in the morning to usually someone's bed by the evening of the same day. So one of the great things about being all foster based is it means that we can go into the shelters and take animals that don't usually get adopted. The ones that get adopted are the ones who go to the front of the cage, are social, make eye contact, wiggle, but the majority of the animals don't respond that way because a lot of them come in for a variety of reasons. So many people think that shelter animals are ones that are broken, have behavioral issues, have wound up there because of tough behaviors that other people wouldn't want to deal with. But what they don't realize is so many animals, every different kind of breed, every age, every size wind up there because people move. That's the number one reason we see animals wind up there, or people call us. They move, their owners will die or their parents will die. And so you get every type of animal that once they enter the shelter might shut down. And so because we're foster based, we can take the ones that don't show well, that don't tend to get adopted. We can also take a lot of medical cases because of our foster program. And that's really important. Again, an animal, a dog or cat with a broken arm, or who needs a month of healing, oftentimes won't quite make it up to adoptions. And so we can pull all of those guys, put them into foster, medically treat them with one of our 9 vet practices in the Bay Area that we contract with, and give them a chance to heal and then blossom. And so that way, I think some of the toughest part of the job is seeing the ones kind of in the back of the shelters that aren't doing well, finding out the various reasons that they are there, and that gets tough. Although the toughest part, I have to say, is when we have to walk out of the shelter at the end of the day, and we can only take so many at a time. And so you've got all those eyes watching you as you walk out, and that's what you go home with at night and think about.
I'm Ann Dunn. I am the founder of Cat Town in Oakland. I started Cat Town when I was a volunteer at Oakland Animal Services, which is our city shelter, and just saw that there was no organization to help cats that in that environment were so scared that they seemed unadoptable. So I started this organization in 2011 to help cats that had no other path out of the shelter. We put cats in cages. We surround them by barking dogs. We try to guess at who they are. We try to ask people to overlook their behaviors and take a chance on them. Most people aren't willing to do that. So we've created all kinds of unintentional obstacles to their getting adopted. So part of Cat Town is create a positive environment for the cats and for the people. One of the things that I heard all the time when I was a shelter volunteer is people say, I don't want to go to the shelter. I think it's going to be depressing. So how do we get all of that out of the way and let people have a positive, organic experience with an animal, feel really good about that one animal that they're helping, and be willing to do that and take them home? So much of what we're trying to do is, it's not just about helping the animals, and of course that's the main thing, but it's really just creating an entirely different approach to rescue. Get rid of the cages and make things positive for the cats and for the people.
I should say they found me, but a lot of times you can tell when a dog is, scared and out of his element. And so whenever I'd come across one, I'd scoop him up and help him. And I was fostering independently before I even knew what fostering was. I would, find a dog that, obviously was either lost or, there was something not right about it. And, if they didn't have tags and I couldn't find, I'd put up, posters, and hopefully a lot of times I would end up finding their owners. And it was kind of, with me, I wish someone would do that for me if that was my dog. And so, I couldn't not leave a dog, by itself when I saw one. But they've also actually just like shown up at my house. I mean, literally, many, many times. And just like a couple of months ago, I was taking one of our other fosters in to be fixed. And I left for the vet's office, and on the front porch was a little Chihuahua mix, and just sitting there chilling out. And we took him in, and turned out when I took him to the vet, he had a chip. We found his owners, and within about 2 or 3 days, we were able to get him back home. But he literally, I think he just knew this was the place to go.
Dogs can mean the world to people. It can be the reason they get up in the morning, the reason sometimes that they go on with their day-to-day. It makes people feel loved and needed and responsible. People always joke, oh, they don't talk back, they bring me joy, they're the best listeners, etc. They can bring humor, warmth, but the bond between dogs and people is immeasurable and can form some of the most solid relationships that some people have in their entire lives.
I think one of the most poignant stories I have really two, but one of the most poignant is we had a litter of kittens that was called in by a realtor, and they were being fed by the renter, and the renter left, and the owner was in Europe and wanted the cats gotten rid of, and they didn't really care how, whether they poisoned them or whatever they did. She called me, and there were 5 of them, I believe, and so she took them home, and her husband said, So she called me, and we went and picked them up, and they were very scared, but beautiful cats. But there was one little cat that had a horrible injury to the eye. And we took the cat immediately to the vet, and the eye had to be removed. And she would stay oftentimes behind her big brother, and he kind of mothered her along. Well, eventually she got strong enough and independent enough where we felt that she was able to be adopted. So we put her on our website, and we were at our adoption site that weekend, and we were just near closing, and I noticed there was a gentleman standing quietly by himself. And he waited until everybody left, and he came up and said, I'm interested in this kitty. And he said, I'd like to get it for my wife. And I said, well, we usually like to have the families come in together. He said, no, I'd like to get it as a thank you to her, but I don't want her to know about it. And I kept looking at him, and I noticed there was something different about his gaze. And then he told me he had been a victim of a horrendous mugging and had lost sight in his eye. And he had a glass eye. And he had a lot of trauma to the head. And his wife had stuck through it with him and helped get him through this. And he said, when I saw this kitty, I figured if that little cat can make it, so can I. And he said, I want her in my life. So my husband and I drove over to San Francisco and were waiting when his wife came home from work. And it was wonderful. And they stayed in touch with us for quite some time.
My name is Melody Chen. I run the Rescue 11 Second Chances, and this here is Mello. Mello was rescued with our international rescue program. She was from the Korean meat farm. We work with rescues in Korea that helps take out some of the dogs from the meat trade now that it's illegal, and she was one of the lucky ones that was able to come over. I started the international program 7 years ago. When I was 13, I went back to Taiwan, and I just kind of saw how things were going on there with the stray dogs. You just see a bunch of emaciated dogs all over the streets, dogs with missing paws, injuries, and that really took a toll on me. There was a particular dog that kind of why I started the international program, and that dog was super friendly, but she was so skinny. She came up to me and my sisters when we were out and just kind of wanted to get as much love as she could, but our aunt actually came and shooed her away and just kind of told us that the dogs had diseases, and that's when I kind of realized that it's just how they see dogs in general, what they were told. But I knew I couldn't rescue that dog, but I made a promise that the moment that I could down the line that I would do whatever I could to make sure, even if I could just rescue one from Taiwan, that I would do that. So that opportunity came 7 years later, and that's how the international program started.
At 21, I got my own personal first rescue dog, a little Cocker Spaniel. Her name at the time was Princess Sophia. My niece actually renamed her Macaroni, and her name fit perfectly for her personality. She lived to be 14, and I actually just had to put her down last year. But going through my life with her from my early 20s to my mid 30s is probably the one thing that got me through two of the hardest times in my life. I lost my dad and my best friend within a year of each other. And had I not had Mac to get up for every morning, I can't say that I would have gotten out of bed certain days. I had to get up and feed her. I had to get up and walk her. She depended on me to survive. And lo and behold, she's honest to God what got me through. Had it not been for her with me every day and, waking me up because she had to go potty or waking me up because she was hungry, that dog would eat anything and everything, so she ate a lot. And making sure that I stick to my routine to walk her, to get her out to the dog park. And I started taking her everywhere with me. She definitely became my emotional support animal, to say. She is what got me through the hardest time of my life. And having to say goodbye to her was the third hardest. And having my other animals with me when she passed is, got me through that as well. So I wouldn't have been able to face those times if it hadn't been for her.
We let the dogs kind of pick each other. We had one dog, Shiloh, and we wanted to have a second dog. We thought she needed something other than the 5 cats that we had in the house at the time. And the same rescue group asked us to take a specific dog, and we took Shiloh to meet that dog, and she just saw that dog and she just turned her head away, said nope, and she walked right over to this guy, and she did a play bow and wagged her tail and said, I'm gonna take that guy. So here he is. I have this guy now.
Growing up, I had Boston Terriers, and they were fine. They had some physical issues and some challenges, and we came upon a rescue dog. 2012 was the first rescue dog we got, my husband and I, and she was the best thing. Her personality was great, and it was just nice to take a dog in and help them. I mean, it was helping us, actually, not helping the dog.
So dogs Dogs are the sweetest thing on earth. You know, they have such a sweet temperament. They're so loving. They don't know anything better other than to love and be kind, you know. I'll tell you a true story. My grandmother, who raised me, passed away, and I cried for one day. And then when my dog Chief passed away, I cried for 2 years. I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't get out of bed for 6 months. And it just goes to show you, dogs have a different effect on the human spirit. They really bring out the love and kind spirit, I think, in all people.
I love our dogs. It's our new family. And I was just commenting to some friends over the weekend. We spent the week together up in Tahoe, and we took the dogs with us. And I said, you know, I never thought I could feel so strongly about animals. You know, I had, growing up very young, I had a dog, but most of the years I didn't have a dog. We were 5 of us in the family. But there's something about just having this person that follows you everywhere, and they just love unconditionally, and they want your love back. And, you know, when Mia comes around and she scratches my leg, and it's just like, love me right now. And there's just
hey, I do that.
There's a wonderful connection, and it makes me feel very whole. And I have to say, I mean, we love the 2, but having the 3, it has really, really changed my life and my outlook on life. It just makes me feel like it's our new family. You know, all of our kids are grown, and now we have our family.
Yeah, I think it's also I have a hat inside somewhere that says, dogs make me happy, people not so much. And frankly, that's one of the things I love about the dogs, is that, I'm sure you've heard this a million times, is the unconditional love that you get from a dog. You know, you never, like in that song I wrote, it's like, you know, my dog never lies to me, my dog never says goodbye to me, my dog don't go sleeping around, you know, and when I play my guitar, she really likes the sound. So I just love their acceptance.
Volunteering at your local shelter does a whole lot more for your community, for you. You know, it gives you a sense of not only relief, and you know, you feel good about what you do, but you get to meet some of the coolest dogs, coolest people, you know, your current partner, your best friend, you know, human and dog. Volunteering can bring back more for you than you really think. And it's a lot easier for people to get involved. With CCAS, we do training at least once a month, not, you know, every other month. I have probably about 35, 40 volunteers under me, and we're always looking for more. We do mobile adoption events. We do programs where we actually have a group of people that come and do running, and they actually take the dogs on mile-long runs. We do relays. We do events with our local Harley-Davidson dealership. You can volunteer, and it's not just walking dogs and picking up poop. You know, you do tons more than most people think.
My name is Valerie Kroll, and this is my rescue Bill, and this is Callie. She's a rescue as well, and that's Frida, and she's a real dog from a breeder. I do Doberman rescue. I'm a volunteer, and we got a call about a dog that was laid up on a porch in Oakland, and that was Bill. At the time, he had mange, he weighed 45 pounds, and he had one ear bit off. So that was in July of 2011. He went to the rescue and had an interception, which is a telescoping of his intestines, and he had to have emergency surgery. We had to take out 3 feet of his intestines, and then he came back here to rehab, and he was a little cranky, and he bit me several times, so we couldn't adopt him out, and my choice was put him down or keep him. 9 years later, here we are. This is Callie. I am fostering Callie for Jelly's Place, which is a rescue in San Pablo. Callie has a heart condition where something inside the heart, there's when they're born, something that's supposed to hold the valve open and then it breaks away as they grow. In her case, it didn't break away. So as of right now, she is going to die. She's in congestive heart failure. We're treating that. And I have her as a hospice dog. I told them I wasn't going to pay for any vet bills, that they would have to carry him, and then I would take the dog. And then I lost my mind, and I'm taking her to UC Davis to see if they can actually cure her. Because she's a great dog, and I would like to run her through the local program for veterans with PTSD and let her be a service dog for a veteran. I think that would be a good place for her. She's a super cool dog.
You go in adopting an animal knowing that they're not going to live for a very long time. With shepherds, they have dysplasia. With dogs that have been overbred, have a lot of illnesses. I once had a Cocker Spaniel who had 2 tear ducts removed and had a leukemia because she was overbred. That was my first baby. So you have to go in knowing that this is an adopted child, and you're gonna give it all the love you got, and you're gonna get it tenfold back. And eventually, sometimes you're lucky, you get 12, 15 years. So most times it's 7. So it's a heartbreaker.
One of the things I hear a lot is people talking about the heartbreak of losing a dog and how they'll never get another one or that kind of stuff. And it's like, I understand. It's like, there's a lot of hurt in my heart, but I'm gonna cry. These old guys all get to live because of me. Gosh, as far as the end, I have been there to the end 17 times. And I don't get the ashes back, mostly because there's not enough room in this house to have that much. Not one of mine has been alone at the end. I lay on the floor and I hold them.
So we do get a lot of purebreds in the rescue world. It's kind of surprising, actually. You have these cute, fluffy puppies that are little balls of fur, and you get them home from your breeders or your pet stores, and people don't really realize the work and commitment it is. They hit their teenage years in between the 8 and 14-month mark, and if you haven't done your due diligence, they can turn into not the best pets, and hence why we typically will get them at that point. Your Labradors or your Doodles or something like that, you expect to come trained already, and you don't have to do the work because it comes from a breeder, and that is just not the case at all. We have a lot of temperament issues that come sometimes from the purebred dogs as well as the shelter animals, but we also can take those in and work with them and understand what kind of home they're going to need and what kind of work that they're going to have to find their forevers.
Again, so many people will think that they're taking in a problem dog, a dog with issues that probably has a long, tough history. And I have to say that so many dogs come in for such a large variety of situations. And we get every temperament, again, every breed, every age. So many people are astonished that these are rescue dogs when they go up on our website. So I really encourage people to give rescue dogs a good hard look, because so often we wish that they could tell their backstory, and sometimes we're able to see if those have been through particularly tough times and are fearful of people. We can tell they have a tough past, but there's every different personality under the sun out there, and they can make truly fabulous dogs.
I'm David Love, and I'm here with Tate, one of my dogs that's not a foster, and with Mango, who's my bird, who we adopted. Mango and the other dogs get along a lot better than we expected. Mango started out being difficult for us to handle just alone because Mango was afraid. He'd been through a number of families actually before we came to him. So we had to learn about him and he had to learn about us. And once we learned to manage him, then we started working with him and the dogs to see how they'd respond. And then sometimes Mango would do things like just jump on the ground and start walking around, and the dogs didn't seem to really mind Mango too much. They will pretty much just kind of ignore each other, like passing like ships in the night. And they get along pretty well. They don't really touch. They just kind of keep their boundaries, and it's kind of peaceful between them. I do believe there's one other thing that Mango does. It's kind of interesting with the dogs. He'll interact with them by throwing food on the ground from time to time and seeing if they go after it. So he interacts with that capacity. If they scare him, he will let them know that he's a big, terrifying bird, and he'll puff out real big, and it will terrify the dogs as well as me. It's really a sight to see when he gets angry. He is a real intense being when he wants to do that. But yeah, they get along real well. Otherwise, we haven't had a single incident between them other than the bird getting afraid. I guess the dogs barking a little bit when it started. So when he came here first, because they didn't know what to think about Mango.
I got into rescue, I was roughly 16 years old. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was driving down a road and 2 German Shepherds came out of nowhere, and I almost hit them actually. And at that point I brought them home. My dad was not super excited with me because we already had 2 dogs. And ever since then I just brought strays into the house. I adopted my first pet actually from this shelter when I was 10 years old. And it is something that has been kind of second nature. My family have always been animal lovers, and it just kind of continues.
I'm Chris Terozzi with the White Kitty Foundation in Danville. We are a nonprofit animal organization. We were an animal rescue organization that placed dogs and cats in homes. And we now are just a sanctuary for older animals and animals with health conditions. There was a cat across the street. The owners did not take care of her, and she was really old, and they wouldn't put her in the house. And so she was a white cat. So in the wintertime, we built a little space for her by the front door with a heating pad where she could stay warm. And we fed her, we put flea medication on her. And I kept asking them to please put her in the house because she was about 13 years old. And one day she got hit by a car. And Bob and I took her to the vet, and she had a fractured jaw, but she was in a lot of pain. And she actually had a heart attack because of the pain and stuff. So when we came home, we waited a few weeks and we talked about it, and we just said, you know, there needs to be another voice out there for animals.
My daughter Maddie was the one who really said we need to adopt. She went through Pet Finder and saw this picture of Barkley when he was 6 months old and absolutely fell in love. And so showed the rest of the family, Barkley, and we all said, oh yeah, he's really cute. We love big dogs. We had plenty of space for him. So I said, where is this dog? And she said, Prosser, Washington. I went, what? I said, where? Prosser, Washington? You can't find a local dog? Went back through, and by that time, we'd all seen the picture of Barkley, and he was just so adorable. In January, we went up to Prosser, Washington, met with the people at Out West Animal Rescue, and they brought Barkley in the minute we saw him. It was like, oh my God, this dog is just too cute. We have to. And they sat there with us for about an hour and a half, and when they told us that he could have a forever home with us, it was like, okay, I got tears in my eyes, a forever home, that's awesome.
I'm Lynn Tingle, I'm the founder of the Milo Foundation. We were founded in 1994 and have a sanctuary up in Mendocino County and our adoption center here in Point Richmond. We rescue animals that are facing euthanasia, neglect, cases of abuse, and get them healthy and happy and find them good homes. People come to us to adopt from all around the Bay Area and areas, further away as well. We have, of course, a website that shows all the animals that we have available for adoption, both at our sanctuary and here in the adoption center, as well as, of course, we have animals in our foster care. We encourage people to come in here, of course, because what people don't know and what they see on a website with the photograph and the little biography that we write is not the same as actually meeting the animal, of course. We'll get people that will see a particularly great photograph because the photographer, we have wonderful volunteer photographers, happen to catch, this great glimmer in the eye and mischievous look or whatever in a puppy, and there'll be 7 of the puppies, but everyone will see that one on the website because it speaks to them, from their laptop or whatever they're looking at. But coming in here, then they see the animals in action and they see more, and they think they have a certain criteria that they want in an animal. They have a certain breed in mind. But when you meet these marvelous mutts, basically, people can quite often start to loosen up from their preconceived ideas of what it is they want. And people will come in and think they want, the closest thing to a border collie golden retriever that we have, and they end up leaving with, shepherd, whatever, something that was not what they were thinking.
There's a dog out there for every single family in the shelter system, in the rescue world. You will find what you're looking for quicker than you would think.
The hardest part is when you put in a lot of time and energy into a dog and love into it, and then we just don't get the outcome that we expected. Either the dog passes away. We get a lot with back injuries that are very hard to look at. A lot of them with skin disease, it's really hard to look at them and see how they're suffering. It's heartbreaking. And then we put in months of time of rehabilitating the animal, and then no matter what we do, it still doesn't survive. That's heartbreaking. And we watch them, especially in China, watch them just one right after the other just go down. A lot of the dogs over there suffer from distemper and parvo and skin disease. And the distemper usually will have some kind of sequel to their distemper, where they have the shakes or the bounces and they can't control them, or the dog can't walk. We spend a lot of time rehabilitating those ones, and it takes a while, but a lot of them come out of it. And then some of them just still have a little bit of a bounce or something to them, or a gimp in their step. After a few months, you don't even notice it.
So probably one of my very first rescues was a bulldog. His name was Titan. He had full Demodex and a cast on his left arm. And I was told that he was bitten by his dad over some food. By the time the dog got to me, I was really worried about what I was going to find under the cast. Long and short, there was no bite, there was no fight. The backyard breeder that we got the dog from wanted to expand his chest, so he had cast his arms to have him go out. And unfortunately, the cast was put on way too tight, and it cut circulation off of his paws. So he was severely deformed, would walk on his wrist instead of his pads of his paws. And thankfully, the vet tech that I took him to start treatment ended up adopting him. So I still keep in contact with him today. Another one was from the Fresno area that I pull a lot of dogs from. A senior pitty who was pregnant. She's 12 and unfortunately lost all the babies. Was used as a breeding dog. She now lives with a very predominant chef in San Francisco who spoils her beyond rotten. Total rags to riches story.
In rescue, you just deal with a lot of cases that would get you really angry. There was a few that we've encountered. We've had a dog that was found on the side of the road. She had her eyes gouged out. She had missing paws, scars all over her. It was just torture. But that dog was still the sweetest, happiest girl. and you still kind of continue to gravitate towards you for affection. And that just really hit me because something so bad happened to her, but she was just still so forgiving, willing to give another chance. And that's what I wanted to give dogs like her another chance, to show them that not all humans are bad. Sometimes you just can't handle it. For me, you know, you see the worst of everything, and there's been times where you just get so angry or just so sad that you just want to stop. But I just kind of look back at all the happy cases that we have, or just the transformation. You know, seeing a dog that was at the verge of death and now going hiking with the new family, that's something I love to see the most.
His skin was a mess when we brought him home. His hair was falling out, skin was dry, he was severely underweight. Yeah, he was bald on the top of his head. We think he may have been on the street for a while.
On the first day that we brought him home, he couldn't stop smiling. We had toys for him already, food, and he just, he immediately fell in love with all that and just got comfortable. We didn't know too much of his history because he was found on the streets living in unsafe conditions, so we don't know much about his previous history. And I think it was the first time he had ever slept on a bed.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure he slept for a good 12 hours.
He didn't move.
No, didn't move.
These idiots who treat these animals so badly and chain them up and beat them and leave them out all winter. These are ignorant, stupid people who have no right to even be on this earth. I'm sorry, that I can't. It just breaks me up that I read about it in the paper, or I see things in the news, and they should be jailed. They have no right to own an animal, but yet they do.
I think that if you're gonna rescue an animal, you should only rescue an animal if you know how to take care of it. Like, if you want an iguana, you must have a huge cage because they get 6 feet long. So know how to take care of it. And if it's too sick, dying, you probably shouldn't get it. And if you have to pay for the animal at a store, you probably shouldn't get it because they're giving them money to get more animals, and it's gonna loop.
I think I would encourage people to get rescue dogs because, one, there's so many out there. There's so much need. There's so many dogs that just need a home, that are already born on this planet. And they are so grateful when you bring them into the home and you make them part of the family. They give you back 1,000,000 times what you give to them. And it's a great feeling to know that you're doing something good in the world, that you're giving back somehow.
Recently, I had the opportunity to hear from one of our adopters, and he was describing how much his dog meant to him and how he had changed his life. And Ryan is deaf and communicates via sign language. And while he was talking about him, I was in one room and Ryan was in the other. And he was using his sign language through a translator to talk about when he first met Koa, a dog of ours, and what Koa had brought to his life. And it was one of the most moving things I have ever experienced, because even though I couldn't see Ryan at the time and he was using sign language, every time he mentioned a personal story, the first time he laid eyes on her, something that she did while she was growing up as a tiny puppy, he would sign with such passion and force that I could hear his hands hitting one another. And I found that so incredibly moving, that the impact of even someone who wasn't using their vocal cords was expressing their true love and joy in how meaningful it was to have this dog in their life.
Oh, I own a lot of animals, and I think at this point, lost a little track, but maybe 13. Different species, different kinds, hens, cats, tortoises, lizards, anything that my son wants to bring home, basically. That's 13 and counting, probably.
Well,
If there weren't rewards in doing animal rescue and doing Milo Foundation, I wouldn't be here. You know, after 25 years, I can't say that it's getting any easier, unfortunately. It's still a lot of work and there's still a lot of sadness and hard times. But there's the positive, there's the joy, there's the families that take home a dog that previously was in a backyard, covered in fleas, fed, B-grade, god-awful food, and neglected. And then has come in here and been nurtured, and the tail comes up and starts wagging, and they start to have light in their eyes and looking forward to engaging with the humans that come in to visit here, and our staff, of course. And then, the family from wherever, because we get people from all over around the Bay Area. We've had a dog, that went from a backyard in Merced that's now living in Pebble Beach, goes up to Tahoe. We get these photos sent to us that are just, I want to be adopted by these people, and it's just, this dog was, neglected and sad, and now it's just living the life of Riley, so to speak. Just those kind of things, and getting the photos back and getting the people that come in to adopt their second or third dog, and they show us the photos of their dog that recently died but lived to be 14, 15, and they tell them the stories and how their kids grew up with the dog and whatnot, and now they're here to get another dog. And it's that kind of thing where the joy that people have had with these animals that we've rescued keeps us going, really.
We have a dog named Chance. He was a little English bulldog, about, I think, 4 or 5 weeks old. He had deformities where he literally couldn't stand up. The shelter actually marked him for euthanasia, and a lot of the vets that we contacted actually told us that this dog would have a very poor quality of life, but something about him really sparked me, is that he just had a fight in him. So we took the chance, and regardless of what anyone really said, and we did a fundraiser, and I think within a week we were able to raise the complete amount for his surgeries. And because of that, before he even came into rescue, he had a support group. He went through surgery, we did updates, and now there's videos of him actually running around. He eventually he wobbles, but he's standing, he's running, he's super, bossy English bulldog. He lives in Maine right now, and the home actually drove all the way down to pick him up and did that cross-country drive with him. He probably has more followers in the rescue. So it's just really cool to see, and he also inspired a lot of people through his journey. You just see him, that very first step he did, and that was caught on camera. It was just so sweet. You see this dog that everyone, even the vets, gave up on, take his first step and run, make his wobbly way to his foster home, and then eventually to his forever home.
A lot of people ask us how we can do the tough work that we do, and how we can go through seeing the things that we see, and it is indeed hard, I have to say. The thing that keeps us going the most is that once we pull an animal, no matter how tough a shape they're in, we know that they will land in a wonderful home. And so by seeing this metamorphosis, seeing them blossom from start to finish is so gratifying for us, and it helps us keep the work going. And I also want to mention that it is fantastic knowing how many amazing people there are working in the shelters and all the other rescue groups. It honestly does take a village, and we work very well together. We're always on the phone with one another. If someone is needing help medically or someone needs a particular home, there are so many people out there. Again, the volunteers that take the time, the fosters who open their homes, the vets who give discounts to treat them, and the shelter staff and all the rescue staff who all come together to really help these guys out. And so it's wonderful knowing that behind the scenes, there's so many people rooting for these rescues.
If you're thinking of getting a purebred dog for $6,000, $7,000 or a rescue, go with the rescue. Not only will you save the money, but you'll save a life.
And gain a friend.
And gain a friend.
For anybody that's interested in rescue in general, in the shelter system, and adopting, I implore you, whether it be fostering, adopting, transporting, paying for vet bills, there is always a need for something from anybody. Contact your local shelter.
Get ready, you're adding a family member and you better do right by them and not give them up. You don't give up your kids. Don't give up your animals.